will be open to the visit of our nation for the first time. During the Ottoman Empire, this building was used as a factory for crystals and glass, and with the architecture and the pieces that it hosts, it is an added value to our country and to our city of Istanbul. I would like to congratulate everyone who contributed to the renovation of this museum building, as well as creating the collection. As the chair just said, 3 years ago, when Mr. Ismail Kahraman was the Speaker of the Parliament, we had a chance to visit this venue and had a chance to follow up the developments. And in those developments, we have seen some of the objects being presented at the time, but since then, within the past 3 years, a lot of progress has been made. A lot of ground has been covered, and now we are carrying out the inauguration, and we are going to see the level that we have arrived altogether. The museum building is included in a broader space which hosts many other houses, homes, mansions, stables, and it is a valley of art and architecture. It used to be, but among those, we have the stables left, and it has been renovated by our National Palaces administration and has been converted into a museum. This museum is an important piece of its period, and we are proud to have brought such an important place to life in the service of our nation. Of course, we would wish that we would continue this heritage with everything that it contained back in its period, but unfortunately there was a period in our history during which the heritage of our ancestors was not respected and many important works were lost. And we started as a mayor and continued as a prime minister and the president an important project and efforts in order to protect our historical heritage. For instance, we have renovated the ruins at the Dolmabahce Palace, and we have turned them into offices for the prime ministry and the presidency subsequently. And the Beylerbeyi was also renovated by our office, and again under the auspices of presidency it was used as an office. Similarly, with great negligence, the Yıldız Palace, the Mabey'n kiosk, was ignored for a long time. We have renovated it, and this pavilion is now one of the symbol works, symbol monuments of our country. And efforts are underway for other parts of the Yıldız Palace. In Tarabya, the Huber Pavilion and the almost entirely destroyed Vahdettin mansion in Çengelköy were once again given new life. And the national palaces was tied to the presidential office so that we could personally follow the renovation of other important places of heritage from our ancestors. Our goal is that all of these historical places will be renovated in the quickest and healthiest way possible, and that they will also be protected as living venues. And we don't stop there, but in all of our public buildings, including the presidential complex, we take inspiration from the Selçuklu and Ottoman architecture so that they can be as a heritage that we carry on to future generations, so that we can carry those marks to the future generations and to rebuild them with a modern interpretation. And this way, we fight against the ugly structures which are void of spirit and character, so that we can end this and we can start a new chapter which brings together the future as well as the tradition. Hopefully, on this journey, we have made a lot of progress already. In many of our cities today, not only public buildings, but also buildings built by the private industry and individuals are being carried out with the same philosophy. We have also expanded horizontal architecture and horizontal structures, and we believe we will change the face of our cities' architectures in the medium to long run. As I underline on every opportunity, I should reiterate once again today, we live in a geography which hosted the Selçukis for 2 centuries and the Ottomans for 6 centuries and our republic for almost a century. So we have a history of almost 1,000 years in this geography. We have a great know-how and even older know-how of civilization which spans an even broader geography. And today, from Central Asia to Inner Europe, we can see important marks of culture that was left behind by our ancestors. And the geography that we live in also hosts some of the oldest civilizations of humanity, and for that reason it hosts a great richness. We have great history and culture heritage, but it is a bitter fact that we're not fully able to protect this important heritage. And for this reason, everywhere that we assume responsibilities and in every area, we act with the philosophy of a future which has its roots in the past. Of course, culture, arts, and sciences cannot be produced overnight, and they are not lost overnight. But in addition, with a steadfast political, economic, and military power, without these powers, countries cannot maintain their arts and their sciences, as we know. When it comes to works of art and culture, each important work feeds and supports one another, and once retraction starts, no area can remain outside this regression. So, as Turkey and as the Turkish nation, we have experienced such a disaster, even though it was partial. We have faced many collapses in the past century, and that meant we had to focus so hard on our survival that we did not have any spare time or energy to allocate to other important issues. And in some final periods, we have found ourselves in such turmoil as well. In today's world, interaction between countries and communities is a fact, but in every area and including in culture and art, we have only copied and only have taken inspiration, and we have driven ourselves away from our authenticity, especially during the single party era. We have only repeated and copied what others do in a way that fights with the own values of the country and the nation. In recent years, of course, some great important culture and artworks have been created which are praiseworthy, or scientific activities have been carried out. But the issue is that they have only been at a limited manner. Life doesn't accept any gaps. If you don't protect your own architecture, if you leave yourself to if you don't protect your own art and architecture, you may find yourself surrounded by slums or ugly architecture, ugly structures. We have, for instance, established the Turkish-German University right next to this building because we wanted to unite ourselves with the whole world, with our past and future, and maintain it. If you cannot create your own literature or your own music, you would lose yourself in global waves. Turkey is a country which experienced all of these disasters. We emphasize families, education, and culture for some time now, and with this philosophy, we want to take over the watch for civilization. And this is the mentality, this is the belief behind it. We must strengthen it with families, education, and art and culture, because without these, development would only lead us to lack of love, or to lack of style, or lack of enjoyment. But with wisdom and education, we can take renewed steps, and we are dedicated to getting our country outside this circle. Um, and with such sentiments, once again, I wish that this new museum of glass and crystal works will be auspicious for our country. I also congratulate those who have renovated this important building and gifted it to our city and all humanity. Once again, I greet all of you with my deepest regards.
Cumhurbaşkanımız Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan'a konuşmaları için çok teşekkür ediyor ve günün anısına Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımıza hediyelerini takdim etmek üzere Milli Saraylar İdaresi Başkanımız Sayın Yasin Yıldız'ı sahneye davet ediyorum.